Check. Walter, can you check if there is audio now? Sorry, guys. So I'll have to do this again, the intro, the third time. It's a charm now. Okay, there's sound. Okay. All right, so the third time introduction. So hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Boljan. We had some technical issues, like the mic was off, and that's why on the streams, probably you didn't hear us. So I'm just going to repeat, certain things that I was saying, so that also those of you following on stream, you're able to hear, the comments that I was making. So I'm Daniel Boljan. I'm the founder of Versur. And what Versur is a agentic AI platform for architects and designers and creatives. And I also like to describe it as, composable agentic AI, meaning that Versur allows you to build in a way your agents rather than just chaining kind of models together that are predefined, So you can compose your kind of units of agents, and you can compose in a way the level of generality, let's say, or specificity that those kind of agents are going to have. So you can have agents that are very generalist, or you can have agents that are specialist. And then Versur also allows you to build in a way the relationships, let's say, between all these kind of agents. Some of you might look at the screen, and you're looking at a node-based interface, and you might wonder, is Versur something similar with Flora AI or Weavy? And I will say, it's similar in the sense of we are all using the same kind of node-based kind of interface. So we are all using the same kind of node-based interface, but the difference, there is a big difference, I would say, between Versur and Weavy or Flora AI. So in their case, their focus is on the canvas that they are giving you. It's a creative kind of environment where you can start to place your sketches, connect things together, and almost like that's where you're creating. That's your canvas where you're creating, Now for Versur, what Versur is, it's a intelligence kind of builder, in the sense of the workflow and the nodes that you see in Versur. What they are enable you to do, they enable you to create agents to compose kind of your design workflows and then have them deployed. So for example, in Versur, what you can do is you can say, I have this kind of design process that I'm engaging in all the time when I'm doing a competition. So first I'm reading the design brief, then I interpret the design brief, then I'm extracting away certain kind of directions that are important for me in the design brief, then I'm evaluating the site where I'm going to design, I'm going to bring in kind of references from outside of the domain that I'm working in, and then it's a question of how analyzing those kind of references, and then how I'm feeding, the information from the references into the generation of new options and so on, yeah? So all that, it's an entire kind of process that, as you can see, you need kind of different kind of reasoning kind of steps and logics for that kind of process to work. So in Versur, you can actually set up all those, yeah? So you can say, I have an agent that it's customized to go through a design brief and correctly, in a way, read and extract in a way the information from the design brief the same way that I will do it as a human, let's say, yeah? And then if I have references from outside of my domain, so how do I judge in a way references? How do I extract features from those references? So you have then different kind of agents that you can set up, and you can have them in a way doing those steps, yeah? And the beauty of it is that then you can also say, I want to have this workflow be able to learn over time. So I need to be able to add to it memory, and I should be able to add memory where it's very, very relevant. For example, I need to have memory always when it comes to references. So I'm just going to add memory to references. Or if I say I have to add memory also to the steps that deal with site analysis, then I'm also going to add the memory there, because in this way, then next time when I'm going to run a workflow, it's going to remember how we approach site analysis and why we decided certain things when it comes to site analysis and so on, yeah? And one layer higher in Versur, you can also then say, also I have a knowledge base. I have a sort of design manuals, and I have a sort of standard office standard or creative practice kind of standards that I want in a way these agents and workflow to be aware of. So I can bring that in. Or a level even higher, I can say I'm going to have I need to have the entire workflow aware of the studio preferences that we are working with and certain decisions in a way and the way that we are deciding certain things. Yeah. So suddenly you have then multiple kind of levels of, let's say, memory that you can set up in a way. So like this, then once you have all set and done, what you're ending up with, you're not ending up just with a canvas on which you are like kind of designing. What you're ending up with a system that now it's so intelligent that if you run it next time, and let's say you're changing the design brief, it's going to be able to reason through the new design brief without having to again repeat in a way the process and change things again. Yeah. And for me, this is the hope where, like, if you start to build in a way systems like this, you have to understand that every single time that when you're going to engage in an exploration, you're not going to start from scratch. You're going to keep on compounding in a way the intelligence that you already built in the previous workflow. Yeah. So this is in a way like a big difference, I would say, between other kind of node-based kind of platforms. I see them mostly as either like they're just visualizers, renders engines, but Versur, it's pretty much an engine that allows you to build intelligence. And then once you build that intelligence, you can deploy it. And this is why that is because also like as a vision that we have about Versur is that we are not seeing a future where we are going to rely heavily on user interfaces. I think we are leaping actually into a future where there are going to be more AI agents that are going to use in a way AI and other kind of tools than are going to be humans. Yeah, so I think it's going to be this kind of agent kind of economy more than like human economy. And the human economy is going to be mostly about like how we orchestrate and how we coordinate agents. Yeah. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, for example, even today, the token usage by humans, it's much lower than the token usage by agents, by autonomous kind of agents, which is like we are not even yet at the point where where everyone is using these kind of agents. So imagine that in the future, every single one of us, we are going to have like thousands perhaps of agents that all are going to be specialized for different kind of needs and tasks. And it's just going to be a matter of like, I'm just asking in a way like this fleet of agents, and I'm just saying, solve for me this problem. And I already know those agents are correct because I developed them or I customized them, and I know they are going to solve the problem correctly. And that's going to be in a way, I think, the way that things are going to be in the future. This is also like tying back to this kind of idea of some of you that probably are familiar with my work. I've been working with AI since 2016 when I started to develop AI for architectural practice like Kupino. And since then, in a way, for me, I was always like super against this kind of like idea of the future. It's going to be about this kind of all-powerful AI, the Terminator type that is going to rule everything. And for me, it was always like contradictory to what I understand as intelligence. Yeah. I want to live in a future where you have multiple intelligences interacting together, and that interaction in a way leads to breakthroughs and higher levels in a way of intelligence. And this is also valid when it comes to the way that we as humans interact. The more you interact with others, the more kind of your intelligence kind of increases, just because you start to learn, you start to grow, you start to challenge your assumption, and you start to progress in a way. And that's why very often, like when you have like high density of humans in one location, like in a city, the output of intelligence in that dense kind of zone, it's higher than if you just have a very low density. And this is like, I'll say, for me, sometimes it's like self-evident or obvious, common sense, because I've just observed in a way also myself how I'm working. I can think clearer and can expand ideas easier when I start to interact with people than if I'm just sitting in my head and just like thinking through certain things. And this is just has to do with the fact that sometimes, and this was actually a beautiful exercise also, if you remember, during the weekly builds in the beta phase, where some of you were just like asking a question like, is this working this way? And that was enough in a way in my head to trigger like, yes, right now it's working this way, but now that I'm thinking about it, it actually should work differently. Yeah. So you see that's a very, very simple kind of example of an interaction that led in a way to a better kind of outcome than if I were not interacting. So that's what I mean then also with this. So to wrap this up, so I'm not spending too much time on it. That Versur, it's trying to become this kind of platform where you can build in a way all these kind of levels of intelligences and the right intelligence for the right task in a way, and then have them orchestrated and allow them to interact in this kind of multi-agent kind of setup. Now, I was posting some things also on Discord and also online about this kind of vision of in the end. I think it's if we think about like who's going to develop in a way agents, it's very likely that there are going to be some specialist kind of users or super users that are going to be very comfortable with developing this kind of agents. Although like my goal is still in a way to make Versur as accessible as possible to everyone, but there's still going to be in a way some users that they are super users. And what's going to happen is that a lot of practices probably they're not going to have the capital, let's say, to be able to hire somebody to build for them an agentic system like what you can do in Versur. And then my hope will be that, how do we overall in the field of design, architecture, creative kind of fields, how do you not necessarily democratize, but how do you have all this kind of knowledge that we are building in a way as a species, how you have that knowledge in a way propagate across like borders and across kind of like in this part of the world or the other part of the world. And my idea will be that what will be interesting is to have an option where there are super users that develop, let's say, an agent that solves a specific problem. And now, rather than that user just using that agent in their own kind of internal office and other offices having to create their own agents, what will be interesting is to have in Versur the option where you have your agent that you're asking it to solve a problem, and that agent should be aware of those agents that were created across the world, let's say, solving the same specific problem. So now what the Versur agent should be able to do, it should be able to call that agent that already solved the problem, just run in a way, pay a small fee, like let's say, like the cost of running the agent is, let's say 50 cents, yeah? So it's going to pay then, that agent 50 cents, and then it's going to get the response and then continue in a way the process. So in this way, then, if I'm running it from here, I don't have to develop the expertise. I can call the expertise from somebody that already build the agent for that, yeah. So this will be almost like then a marketplace that people will be able to publish their like agents, but this will be something that like I'm still working on it. For sure, it's going to be very challenging to make sure that we don't have like nonsense, like too much noise when it comes to the agents, because in the end there has to be a method of how you're validating if those agents are actually good and they're actually creating kind of good outcomes. So that's something that something that I'm currently working on. Also conceptually, I'm working on, but also started to build in a way the component parts of what that might be. But for me, that will be almost then if you have an office that it's able to build that intelligence, it can now share that intelligence with everyone. With all offices around the world that perhaps don't have the capacity to build, but those then offices from all over the world, they're just going to pay a small kind of run cost of the agent, and now they have access to top kind of intelligence, yeah. And I think like that, in a way, we can bring, like the entire like floor, let's say, of the profession higher and higher and higher, yeah. This kind of idea of compounding and incremental kind of improvements. And I hope that this is also something that incrementally like will have a bigger impact than this kind of idea of like just having everyone developing their own kind of agents. So as I was saying, on my end, like Versur, I'm still aiming for Versur to have it as accessible as possible to everyone. And probably you've seen this during the weekly build that the complexity of the interface and how you create certain things kind of dropped, while at the same time the complexity in the background of the software didn't kind of drop. On the contrary, it increased. Yeah. So my dream will be, like you don't need to be a computational designer to be able to use Versur and create your own kind of agents. It has to be that simple. Okay, and so what I'm going to show you today, I'm going to show you that, like these kind of simple kind of ideas of, how we are creating our own agents, how we are connecting them perhaps to a local model rather than like a cloud model. And this is like trying to address, this kind of like aspect of each practice has different kind of risk profile, meaning that, for some, it's fine in a way to send their data to third party kind of vendors like, OpenAI and so on. But for others, that kind of risk profile is different. So you cannot share, that information. There's some confidential data that you're working with, so then you cannot really share that. So Versur Bridge allows you then this kind of optionality to say, okay, this part is going to be sent to local models, and the other part is going to be sent to cloud models. Yeah. So let's see how that works. Yeah. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here to Versur environment. And here is where you have all these kind of sections like agents, skills that you can build, the hub where you have different kind of templates. I highly recommend you, if you're new here to Versur, please start in a way with the templates, or when you start Versur and you log in, you'll always be welcomed by this screen. Yeah. So here you can either like you see you have different kind of examples of workflows. So you either just say start with this workflow. So like that, you can always like look at it, run it, pull it apart, try to understand in a way how that works. Or you can also have this kind of interactive tour in a way that you can go through. Yeah. So you can go through this interactive tour, and like this is going to show you like, okay, how do I create my first workflow? How do I create certain blocks and so on? Yeah, so I can just say, okay, you see here, it's I have to create a workflow. So I can say just create. I'm going to click on it. Then it's going to create a new workflow, and then you have the start button. You can continue. Here we have the option where you expand in a way the field, and then you have different kind of options that you can select: chat, manual, and then from there you can create like your own kind of agent block. Let's say I'm selecting the agent block, and then from there I'm going to add also an evaluator, and suddenly you see you have now a simple kind of setup where you have a start, an agent, and an evaluator. And like this, you can in a way already test in a way how this works. So I can say, hi, how are you? And this is already now connected, and it's a very simple kind of basic kind of workflow that you have it up and running. Okay. So you can always go through those kind of setups. But then if you have, in a way, like if you want to look at certain templates, typically when we do the weekly builds, all the weekly builds are posted here as templates. So you can always then go in, and if you click on it, you're going to have here the option to use. Yeah. So if you click use, you're going to automatically create a copy of this workflow on your workspace. So like that, you can run it. Okay. But we have here all these kind of like, as you can see, like studios. We are going to talk about studios soon. You have brain, you have runtime. So runtime, as you can see here, we have Versur agent. So this is Versur agent. What it does, it's the workflow builder. So you can just describe in natural language the kind of workflow you want to build. And then you have Versur agent that's building that workflow for you. And this is quite actually complex because, as I said, like if I'm looking again at, this other kind of companies like, Flora AI, Weavy, they are mostly focused on the visuals, on the creatives and so on. And their agents, when you're asking them to do something, they're pretty much like creative agents in the sense of they create for you the variations and so on. Yeah. In the case of Versur, you're asking the agent to build for you a smart system. Yeah. because I can say like, okay, I need to have an agentic kind of system where I have like a studio memory. I also have the memory of the workflow and all kind of things set up. I need to also extract from knowledge bases information, and that information has to be parsed this way in the next blocks and so on. So Versur then, a Versur agent is not necessarily like create for me the images and I'm just selecting images. It's about like, it's going to create for you the actually intelligent kind of system, okay? So that's what you have there. So here what you have is you have this kind of option of, do you want to run all this kind of AI agents that you have on Versur? Do you want to run them on a hosted third party like OpenAI, Claude, Google, and so on? Or do you want to run them on your own like a local computer? So you can, as you can see here, you can set it up to, this one has to be local. So I can set it to local, and then right now it's still it's already connected in my case to local, so that's why you see these models. So these are models that I have available on my local computer. I can show you in a moment how we are connecting it. But you see, I can switch now, and also Versur Composer. Versur Composer is another type of agent that when you're building, for example, here when I'm in a block, and I want in a way some help to write, let's say, the instruction for an agent, I have this kind of Versur Composer, and I can define that this Versur Composer is going to be something that runs in the cloud or is something that runs locally. Yeah, so the same goes then also with design agents. So what design agents are, Versur gives you the option to create your own agents, to customize your own agents. And the way you do that is through this basic agent block, as you can see here. So you have all the like customization kind of optionality, let's say, to create like a custom agent. You can add skills, you can create skills, you can add manuals, tools, you can add loops to your agent and so on. So this is really like something that you can customize. That's the agent block. But then at the same time, you have design agents, which are predefined, Versur predefined kind of agents. So as you can see now, if you have a predefined agent like this agent has only 2 fields, yeah, the prompt and the task and files that you might send in a way to that specific agent. So you don't have all this kind of optionality to configure it. Yeah. So Versur gives you then the option, like when you just want to use something predefined, you can use it. When you want to customize your own kind of agent for your particular kind of task, you can then customize it. So that's what Versur, that's what design agents are here, are referring to these specific blocks. Yeah, this one's from here, or if you go to spacebar, you have this category. You see here, design agents. So you have brief interpreter, design research, concept direction, visualization brief, option review, and so on. So you have a couple of options there that you can work with. So then once I'm switching here to local bridge, what this one is going to do is going to say, okay, all the design agents, they are going to run with this specific local model or with this specific local model. Yeah. So I can choose then which is the model that I want to use for that specific agent. Yeah. And the same goes also with the brain. So the brain is like I said, the studio memory that you can have then workflows that are aware of that studio memory. So you can decide all those. Okay. Now, how do we connect Versur Bridge to our interface? Yeah. So if you go here to connectors, you see here that in connectors, what we have is we have this option Versur Bridge, and you have here the download bridge installer. So if you want to have this on your computer, you just click download, and that's going to download an exe file, and you can install that on your computer. Now, I know Walter was mentioning last time if we can have also Versur Bridge for Mac, and I can say that that's still in progress. So we are still in a way like polishing certain aspects of that specific app. But I hope that I'll be able to release it soon, so that like this, if you want to run it on a Mac, you can also run it on a Mac. Yeah, so to have the Versur Bridge, and this will be actually cool because I don't know how many of you use Mac Mini, But Mac Mini, for example, it's quite a strong kind of unified memory kind of let's say device where you can quite cheap for, I don't know, $1,000 perhaps, you can get 64 gigs kind of mini Mac. And 64 gigs means that you can use it as if you have a graphic card with 64 gigs, and that's super amazing then for language models. So we are going to release that soon. Okay, but for now this is just for Windows. So in my case right now, as you can see, I'm on a Mac, but where I have Versur Bridge installed, I have it installed here on my personal computer. This is in my office, yeah? So let's see, perhaps I should increase the display here so that it's visible for everyone. Is this better? Okay. And I know that last time we had a bit of a hiccup when it comes to this. It didn't want to connect. There was some interference in a way with the network, with firewall. But now that issue is being it was solved, so I can show you now how to deal with it. So I'm just going to make it smaller so that we can see. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, what we have is in my case, this one is already connected. As you can see, the bridge is online. But what you'll have is you have here in your Versur web app, you have this option. If you don't have it connected yet, you're going to see something like this. So you're going to see pair bridge. Yeah. So what this one is saying, that I have to connect somehow the bridge with the Versur app. Yeah. Now again, you see here right now I'm on a Mac, and here I'm switching and I'm on a PC. Yeah. These are different computers, different kind of locations. I'm showing you this because you don't need to have Versur Bridge installed on the same computer where you're running Versur. Now, what this one is giving us, you see, we are going to have here an option to insert a code. Yeah. So if I'm going back here and I'm saying pair bridge, you see I have this code here, 100.907. So 100.907. I'm going to say pair. Now, what I should see here is saying Versur bridge linked. So that means now that there is a connection between the computer here, the Mac that I'm working on, and the computer from my office, which is a different kind of location. It's connected. Yeah, they are connected now. So what that means is that when I'm going to run different kind of agents, I can run those agents on that computer. Yeah, it's almost like you have it as a server, and then you can access it from anywhere in the world as long as you have internet connection. Okay, so this one is connected. So you see here it's saying online, which is then good. And what you have here, you have also the option to select in a way which are the kind of GPUs that you have on your computer. And in case that you work with a multi-GPU kind of setup, then you can select which is the GPU you want to use. Currently, Versur Bridge is not multi-GPU, but that's going to be something that we are going to work on, and we are going to add it, because also for me, I have 4 GPUs there, but I cannot use all of them at once, and it will be nice to have it work with all at once. Now, in your case, in case that you're installing this for the first time, the installer is going to install all the libraries, but it might give you an error if you don't have Python, the latest Python installed, and if you don't have Python added to the path. Yeah, so it's going to give you certain instructions, but just follow in a way the errors there. And in case that is giving you an error that Python is not found, and Python is not found in the environment variable, then just make sure you install Python with add path to variable, and then it should be fine. Yeah, add path to environment. Sorry. But this is going to install all the, it's going to install for you all the CUDA libraries, everything that you need, and it's going to be able then to connect. Now, now that I'm saying about CUDA, might be that if you have a different kind of graphic card than NVIDIA graphic card, might be that that's going to create some errors. But in case that we tested, like thus far, we haven't seen many errors. But in case that you do get some errors with graphic cards that are not NVIDIA, just let us know, and we are more than happy to fix those issues as soon as possible. All right, so now what you have here, if you go to models, you have here, you are going to have now here entire library, like pretty much all the open source kind of models that are out there. You're going to have access to them, yeah. And what you have to do is you just have to search for them, yeah. So you see here, like I have image and LLMs, and soon we are going to add also video and 3D. So you have image and LLMs. So I can select image, and I'm just going to type in, let's say, Flux, yeah, because we know Flux, it's a model that has text to image capabilities or image to image capabilities. It's an open source kind of model. So here you see I can now look at which are Flux models that are open source that we can use. So I can then just click on it, for example, and I can see here if this is something that my computer can handle or not, yeah? So if your computer was not able to handle, it's going to give you here a sort of warning that this model is bigger than your that what your computer can handle. So let's see if I can find one that is giving us that. Well, the truth is that I have 48 gigs graphic card, so it's quite good, yeah. Now others, as you can see, here you have to also sign a sort of license to accept the license, and you can in a way select that, and then from there you're going to be able to run it. But for now, let's keep it like this. So I'm going to look here just at details. So you can always expand and see in a way certain details about the models. It's a text to image model. What's the base of the model, because these are open source again. So this is a derivative in a way of Flux 1 Schnell, and other kind of information that you have about that, yeah. And then the author of this specific model, you can also see like what other models they actually fine-tune and open source. Okay. So the way we are going to download this, you're just going to click here, download. And it's going to start now downloading. Now, as you can see, they could be quite big as files. So right now we are downloading a 22 gigs network. So it might take a bit of time, yeah. So while that is running, we can do the same also for language models. We can just search here in a way like different kind of language models. So if you are aware of like different models out there like Win or Kimi or like Gemma or other kind of open source kind of models, you can just search them, and then you click on them, and you can see in a way like these are different kind of derivatives and different kind of like variants, let's say, of the base model. Different kind of people fine-tuning the models for specific things, yeah. So as you can see here, we are still fine. I don't get any kind of warning that my graphic card is not big enough, but you have all these kind of details that you can go through. So Queen 3.6, Fable Fusion, that will be interesting to see if it's really like as good as Fable. And here you see also you have like what kind of capabilities it has. It has vision, it has reasoning. And why this is important is because if you're working with actual agents, if your blogs that you're setting up, there are agents that have also tools, you want to make sure that the model that you're working, it's able to actually use tools. Yeah. So for example, this one is good for vision, but it's not able to run tools. So then now that I'm looking at it, perhaps I should add here in Versur Bridge a filter where you just say like, give me only the models that have tools capability. They are able to run tools as well, or just vision. Yeah. But as you can see, we can go through and we can find different kind of models out there, or let's say Kimi. But Kimi, I know that Kimi is very, very, it's big. Kimi are big models. No, actually, no, this one is quite small. So that's a 37 gigs. So you can then extract this. So again, these are open source models. And what's happening is that once you download them on your computer, there's no data leakage in the sense of like, whatever data you're sending to this model that runs locally, that data is not being sent anywhere else but on your computer. That's it. Yeah. And as I mentioned before, like for many practices, this is a very important kind of issue, just because each company has a different kind of risk profile, and then it's quite important to have the optionality, at least for tasks that are very sensitive, to be able to run this locally. Okay, so as you can see, you have an entire kind of library of models. Library of models. So here, like I'm just searching Fable. So many people trying to perhaps, fine tune these kind of open models like Gemma to get it to a level of Fable or Composer. And in this case, as you can see, this one, it's a coder. So it's mostly for coding. Yeah, but this is what you have here. You have then in Versur Bridge, you have all this kind of optionality. Now, something that we are already working on is having also a chat mode here in the Versur Bridge. So like this, you could imagine that you have a tab, which is the chat, or let's say we have it Versur agent. And then what you can do is you can interact with that directly locally. And that's going to also give you the option to link your Versur workflows that you're deploying. You can link it here. So then you just open this kind of app and you're just interacting with them, yeah? Because this is always like for us, like the question of which is the surface to which you are deploying things. Do you deploy it to Rhino? That's one surface, or Brevet, Illustrator, Blender, and so on. Or you have also a surface that it's agnostic in the sense of it's not dependent on a specific software. So like this in a way, then you just open Versur Bridge, you have the Versur agent there, and it can run, trigger, execute any kind of workflows, yeah? All right, so while this one is downloading, as you can see here, you also have MCPs that come automatically with Versur Bridge. So we are not going to go over today just because of time constraints, but at one point, maybe next time, I'm going to focus on MCPs. So what you're doing is when you're installing a Versur Bridge, automatically you're going to also have the MCPs, the official MCPs for Rhino, for Revit, Blender, Maya, Bluebeam, Adobe Illustrator. You're going to have all those automatically installed on your computer. And then once you hit connect, it's going to also connect to your software, and you can start in a way running different kind of agents in those kind of softwares. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to wait for this. But while we are waiting, let's switch here. And let's see now, how do we create an agent, and then how can we run it with a local kind of model, okay? So I'm going to go here to agents, and you'll see like from last time, like there's some slight changes when it comes to the agents. And the reason for it is like I'm always looking and I'm always like getting feedback and trying to make the setup as flawless and as easy, as intuitive as possible, yeah? So last time, like I was showing you this kind of option where pretty much what you have is you have an entire form like this, in which you can start to define in a way which is the name of the agent, the role of it, the type of mode, like is it acting, is just exploring, it's going to pick the AI models, the language models automatically, or it has a specific model attached to it, which are the skills in a way that we want to add to it, which are the design manuals we want to add to, which are the tools that we want to add. Do we want to add like a specific loop? And we went over like loops previous times, but loop will be like this kind of idea of like, iterative or incremental kind of improvement, or you have this kind of loops where you're asking, like you have to first generate, then you have to evaluate and propose an improvement, and then execute the improvement, and then again evaluate, propose improvement, execute, and so on. Yeah. And we have the options like, okay, which is the output? You're going to output what kind of structure? Are you going to output everything just as a chunk of text, or you're going to break in a way that chunk of text into specific kind of sections? So like that, we can stream in a way nicely those sections. And then you have also human in the loop, as you can see here. Now, this, if you're an advanced user, probably this is more friendly, for you, or you don't have a problem with it. But if you're not an advanced user, probably it's not the most friendly. So that's why then we change here. And if you want to create an agent, you're going to create the agent this kind of way. So you say create agent. And as you can see here, now you're going to have this kind of chat kind of interface, almost like where you just ask, or you just type in a way, which is the kind of agent that you want to build. So I can say create an agent for design exploration. The agent has to output series of prompts based on the user input. Okay, so I'm just going to hit play here. Okay, so here you see now you have an agent builder that it's conversing with you, and it's just making sure that you have like it has all the required information in a way to be able to set up correctly the agent that you're asking to build. So got it, a design exploration agent that generates prompts. Quick question: who is using this agent, and what kind of design are they exploring? So we can say this is for designers / architects. Okay, so you see here saved. You can open it from this agents list. Okay, so I'm going to say done. And now you see here I have the design explorer agent that was created. Yeah, I can go inside here and I can see like how it's set up and which are the kind of the role, how different kind of instruction it gave. We can see like it made it an act mode. It left the model to auto, and then it added in a way the skills that the agent might be able to use then for this specific task. Yeah. Okay. So that built then the agent for us. Now what I can do is I can go here into my workspace. I'm going to create a new agent, and we can now call that specific agent. We can call it here or create a block. I can say, okay, I forgot the name of it, but let's see, maybe I can find it. So you can go here to the list. There you go. You have Design Explorer. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say, okay, the user input is going to go to the task. And now, as you can see here, we have this Design Explorer that was created. And right now, this is already like packaged. So it already had the skills internalized, all the instructions, everything is internalized. And the only thing that is exposed to us are the models. If we want to change the model, or if we want to have like the user input, or if you want to add files. Yeah, so that's what that is. Yeah, so for me, prompt for a modernist. Okay. So here, like as you can see, like because the agent, if I go in here, the agent has the knowledge-based tool attached to it. When I'm running this for the first time, you see it's asking me like I have to provide the knowledge base for that specific tool. Yeah, so I can choose. In my case, I have here a couple of knowledge bases. In case that you don't have a knowledge base, you'll have to add here to assets knowledge bases. You'll have to add here a knowledge base. And let's say you're adding like some theoretical kind of document, if I'm asking it to do variations for modernist kind of buildings. Yeah, so I'm going to say, okay, theory. I'm going to say continue. Yeah, so as you can see now, we have this agent running. We just set it up. It was very like flawless. You don't have to worry about like what tools are there, which one is the appropriate one. Should I use this? Should I not use this? Which one is doing what? You don't have to do any of that. You just describe in a way in plain language like what kind of agent you want to create, and then that agent is going to be created, and then from there it's going to show up in your canvas. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you probably not today, but next time, so that we are not wasting a lot of time. You're going to also be able to create the agent straight here on the canvas. Yeah. So you'll be able to, while you're building the workflow, let's say you say, okay, I'm missing an agent. You're going to click on new agent, and it's going to give you like a field where you just input like what you want to create, what agent you want to create. Is going to create it, and then it's going to show up on your canvas with the proper kind of setup and everything. Okay, so let's see now. So this one, as you can see, it's set to auto, but the way it ran on GPT 5.4, I believe. So let's see how do we have it then running on a different kind of local model. Okay. So as you can see here right now, like this, we're set to auto. So what auto means is that you allow the system. So Versur has a feature called Versur Auto, and what Versur Auto is doing is determining in a way based on the user input, is determining which is the appropriate model that it has to be used. And then also when you have multi-steps kind of processes, is going to determine for every single step which model to use. So in that way, for example, if you have to create a plan, if you have to, let's say, ingest the user prompt, which is a very complex perhaps problem that the user is asking for, you need a model that is quite capable to understand and to reason through that problem that the user is requesting. So it might be that the Versur Auto is going to say, okay, you need to use for understanding the user intent and prompt, you have to use, let's say, top tier kind of model, let's say Fable. Yeah. But then once it's creating the plan and how it's going to solve the problem, and it's saying, okay, well, I have to use this tool or that tool. When you run a tool, when you're asking a tool, you don't have to use the same kind of super high-end, expensive kind of model. So then Versur Auto is going to say like, well, I need Fable to reason through this kind of big, important, and complex kind of problem, but then I just need a GPT Mini, and then I just need GPT Mini again and GPT Nano now. So all these small models, because those are enough in a way to run a workflow or run a tool. So in that way, what you're doing with Versur Auto, you're really like there's a huge like token efficiency there. You're not going to waste tokens on a top tier kind of models just to run a knowledge block, which knowledge tool, which is like should be quite easy. Yeah. So the same we can do also here with local models. You see, because I have the Versur bridge connected, you see here now I have different kind of models showing up. So I can choose now which is the model that I want to work with. So let's say I'm going with Gemma, and that's going to be Gemma that's running. So I can run the same thing now. Let me just ask the same kind of question here. And once again, I'm right now I'm on a Mac, and the bridge is working on a PC over here. So we should be able to see now here the bridge executing. There you go. Yeah. So you see here is running Gemma for 2.26 billion parameters. Okay. So right now, like from a different computer, I'm getting all that. Yeah. So you see here now the agent, it's also asking in this case, okay, which specific modernist aesthetic or philosophy should this prompt target? So I can say, okay, let's say that option. And now, as you can see again, if I'm switching here, you have the Versur bridge from the other computer running and executing, yeah, what this agent is asking for. And the beauty of it is, again, that you can be anywhere in the world. You just have it then open. You have it open on your computer, and you have that computer with connection, with internet connection, and like that you can then run it. Okay. All right. So you have that, yeah. So let's say that now what I want to do is I want to have this. What should I do? Let's say I want to also create an image. So let's see how the image works. So I'm going to create a new block, a generator block, and then generate. And that's going to be the prompt, yeah. So we have here the generator, and the prompt is already set. We don't have any input images. So let's see why the generator is not saying that. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so the local models, you see them here. There was just an issue with refreshing there. So you see the local models that I have them downloaded here. So if I go here to models, my models, and then I'm going to select image models, you see these are the models that I have them downloaded. So which is the one that we just took down? Like, was it? I don't see it. Did it finish downloading? Probably still downloading. But we have then all sorts of models that are local that I can now use. Yeah. So I can say, okay, I want to use Stable Diffusion version 1. So let's say I'm going to go with Stable Diffusion version 1. I'm going to run, let's say we are going to run one of these prompts. Okay. I can disable the agent block. So in this case, we don't need to have this running. So I'm just clicking here. So that's disabling the block. And now again, if I'm switching to the other, you see here we have loading model in the memory. And now it's going to start in a moment to generate the actual image. But you see here, like it's using Stable Diffusion version 1. And then in a moment, we are going to see it here. We are going to see the result showing up, yeah? Now, these are super important, like when it comes to Versur Bridge. I think I was mentioning this also last time. Because as a designer myself, sometimes, like I want to kind of go crazy with this and create thousands and thousands and thousands of options, and then have a language model evaluate those thousands of options. So if this were to run all through hosted kind of models, like a cloud model, that will be a super expensive probably research, but like this, if I can set up in a way Versur and have the entire logic set up, have the agents customized, but then be able to run them locally. Although like sometimes it's going to be slower just because your GPU maybe is not as strong as the GPUs that you're using when you're running a hosted model. But still, it's something that you can let it run overnight. So you have like thousands of images now, or thousands of outcomes that you then evaluate, parse through, improve, and so on. Yeah. Or if you have like this kind of massive documents that you have to go through, and you ask the agent to actually read paragraph by paragraph and then create summaries and so on, that will be something super expensive with a hosted model. But with a bridge model, like a local model, you're going to be able to actually do that. Yeah. Okay. So this is the process there. Now, if we go back here to runtime, so you see we already have the mode Versur agent is set to Queen, and also Versur composer is set to Queen. And what that means is that also when we created this agent, we were using, when we were creating this agent, we were using the actual local model. Yeah. So I can say here again, like create for me a usability study. And it's going to say, what's your main audience or use case? For example, are you evaluating business ideas, product launches, technical, or something else? This will be for site, construction site. Let's say, yeah, even if you misspell, yeah. But what's happening here, like all this is run by the local model. Yeah, this is not cloud. Everything that we are running here, this is local model. So here, like if you're not very specific, it's going to keep on asking you to clarify so that it can give you the proper agent. Yeah. All right. So then I'm going to say, okay, done. And now I have site evaluator. And that site evaluator, it's something that I can site evaluator showing up here. And I have it now set up as an agent at site evaluator. Okay. And if you remember last time, I was showing you that what you can do now with this, you can either like publish it. And once you publish it, it's going to show up here in the hub under agents. So I can do that just now. So let's say I'm going to just say publish. And now here in the hub, you see I have here Design Explorer agent. Okay. And then for you on your end, you should be able just to say use. And once you click use, this agent, now it's going to be copied in your agents list. Yeah. So you're going to see them here at the bottom. You're going to see that specific agent. Or last time I showed you as well this, or if you have a friend to whom you just want to send in a way the agent without necessarily sharing it with the public, what you can do is you can just say share link. That's a link that was copied. And then I'm going to paste it here in the Discord. Yeah. So let's say, yeah. So once you click on that, you'll be able now to really get that specific agent. Yeah. What will be interesting, I don't know, Noemi, are you able to actually create also? Let me do this. I'm going to create on this computer. On the other computer, I'm going to create an agent, just so that everyone can see how that looks like when you receive an agent, how that looks like. What's the interface for that? Yeah. Yeah, just give me a second. Yeah, so we are going to wrap it up soon. I just have to show you, I just want to show you like how this looked like. Okay, so I'm going to share this. Just give me a second. I'll put it here. Yeah, so now I'm going to show like, I'm going to go on this computer and you'll be able to see now how I'm receiving an agent. Yeah, so for example, here, I'm going to click on it. Oops. So let's copy it, copy link, copy text. I'm going to put it here. And now here you see like that's what I'm going to be prompted with social post crafter. So I asked in a way to create a an agent for social media. So I just accepted and now it's saying add it to your agents. So when I'm going here, I should be able now to see that. You see it? So social poster crafter. Okay. So I have now access to that. And the same way now I can go in here. I'm going to say, okay, so let's add the social poster crafter here. Yeah. So I just showed you now like very fast, like it on a different user created this agent, then it shared the link with me. And now that link that was shared, I just open it and it's giving me the option then to import that agent into my agents library. And I have it now as an agent like that. Yeah. Okay, which is super, super nice then. All right. So Walter, you were asking where does this go? So that's going to be placed into the agents. Yeah. So if you go into the agents tab, you're going to see that agent that you accepted in here in this list. Okay. So you can like this, you know, you like create like all these kind of workflows. You can have pretty much the entire Versur, then you can have it set to run locally. So you can have all these set to local. Even the brain, everything runs locally then. And then, you know, like also the agents here, if you want to customize them, some cases you'll see that frontier models, you know, sometimes, you know, they are still better at certain tasks than open source models, but you'll have the option then to say, okay, this specific block is not really executing things correctly because the model that I have, the open model that I have is not strong enough, the computer that I have is not strong enough, so then I can switch to a cloud model, yeah? And the beauty of it is that you can have entire workflow. Let's say you have 100 blocks, but you don't need to have all the blocks running cloud or local. You can just split and say, okay, this specific block is going to run locally, and the other one is going to run in the cloud. So, for example, also like when you're dealing with sensitive data, it could be that you're saying, okay, all the agents that are getting the information from the sensitive document, all those agents, they have to run on a local model through the bridge. But then those agents, they are going to create certain summaries that in the end you're not going to expose the sensitive data. Yeah. So I can stream now the outcome of those agents and some summaries or some like conclusions. I can send them to a cloud models without the worry that the sensitive data is being exposed. Yeah, because the sensitive data was just exposed to a local model, and then only the certain summary or certain like decisions in a way are sent further to a cloud model. So you can have a workflow that is very hybrid then, which is the right kind of model. Is it a local model? It's a cloud model. It's a frontier model. It's like a smaller model. So you can really like define that. Okay. All right. Are there any questions? Well, this question of with the agents. So right now, like what I showed the example is pretty much the current setup of Versur. Yeah. So you have this kind of agents that you can share. If you're sharing the agent, pretty much you have you give a permission to the other person to see how the agent was set up. But if you're referring to the aspect of the marketplace, like when it comes to agents, what I was talking about at the beginning, so those agents, when you're going to publish an agent to a marketplace, that's going to be like a sort of agent that is going to protect your IP, meaning that even if some other agents or other user is able to call that agent that you build and you put on the marketplace, the user that's accessing your agent should not have access to the structure of the agent, should not have access to everything, like how you set up the agent and so on. That should be your intellectual kind of property. And in the end, then, the other user should be able just to almost like send a request to your agent. Your agent executes the request, outputs the result, and then the other user is just seeing the result, nothing else. And when it comes then to the other question about like if there is a sort of like help that I can give with this. So currently we haven't yet publicly introduced Versur partners, although like you can see it's already on the website, Versur partners. But what Versur Partner is going to be as a program, and we are going to be more vocal soon about it. What Versur Partner is exactly this kind of idea of like I'm going to allow a cohort of a couple of tens probably of people that they could become in a way like specialist kind of partners with Versur, where I'm going to meet with them like weekly. So to help them build then workflows that then they can share with the community, or they can put them on the marketplace or so on. Yeah, because if you remember during the weekly build, I was telling you that to my surprise, like some users were using or thinking about Versur as I'm going to create a workflow, let's say a site feasibility kind of workflow, and then I'm going to go to a practice and I can sell that to the practice. Yeah, and for that practice, that's still like more efficient than paying like a consultant to create for them the feasibility study, which might land you into a couple of tens of thousands, not tens, a couple of thousands. Yeah. So that's what Versur Partners is going to address. And then also like this kind of idea of like create an agent and then put it on the market, and then other agents are going to be able to call it and just pay for the consumption of the agent. That's also something that through this kind of partner kind of program, that's how a lot of things are going to go. Because as I mentioned before, for that kind of idea of one agent calling other agents to work, you need to have like reliability. You have to make sure that it's reliable. The agents that you're calling, they have to be verified. They have to be verified that they're actually like executing things correctly and they're not just creating nonsense. So that's why like pretty much then all that kind of marketplace idea is going to be filtered through the partner kind of program. So like that, we at Versur, we can validate in a way if those workflows are actually up to standard, like the standard that we want to have, and only then they are going to be allowed to be published in a way on the marketplace. Yeah, like that in a way we are really protecting all the other users that are going to call those agents. All right. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, so I was mentioning this at the beginning, but Versur Bridge, where it's going, you're going to have in Versur Bridge, you're also going to have soon Versur Bridge for Mac. You're also going to have Versur Bridge that you'll have here an option that you can fine tune um, different kind of models. So you're going to be able to just install your bridge, your Versur Bridge, and that's going to enable you to fine tune language models, or it's going to allow you to fine tune text to image models, video models. But I'm working in that direction. I'm working to have this as intuitive as possible. I see that the more accessible you make it to the people, the more people are crazy. Like, and you guys are crazy. Like most of you, like somebody gives you like something like rather simple, and then suddenly you're stretching it and you're creating something amazing that no one thought of it. So I think it has to do with like if you're able to bring down all those barriers, I think the human imagination has no limits, and you're just going to create amazing stuff. So then like when it comes to fine tuning has to be so easy, as if like you're just dragging a couple of images, press a couple of buttons, and that's it. It should not be something that suddenly you have to be now an expert into how to prompt and fine tune things. Yeah. So the same goes for language and also for images. So that's something that Versur Bridge is going to be able to accommodate those. Okay. Yeah, so it's this kind of idea of like how do you reduce the complexity of the interface without reducing at all the complexity, without affecting the complexity and intricacy and potential or capability actually of Versur. That's going to be like this, the kind of trade-off, like how do you make it accessible while still have it this kind of super powerful kind of platform. All right. All right. So if there are no other questions, thank you, everyone. It's always great to engage with Versur community and to have like people testing and looking at how they're working with things. By the way, like something that we are going to do moving forward with Versur, we are always going to have an offer every single week. When we have the weekly build, the day of the weekly build, you're always going to have an offer of 20% off if you're creating an account with Versur. And so you'll have until the end of the day in a way to take advantage of this kind of 20% off for any plans. And also, like just a reminder for beta users, they still have like a nice discount in a way from Versur plans. Just check your emails that we sent you, and there is a code in a way like that you can use to actually take advantage of that. Yeah. So let's see. Can I write somewhere? I have a lot of things open here. Yeah. So for I'm just trying to find it. So for weekly build. So if you're subscribing to Versur today, for example, until the end of the day, you can use this promo code like Versur 20, and this is going to give you a 20% off for the first month. Yeah. So in case that you want to take advantage of that, you should take advantage of it. And the weekly the beta users, like just make sure you take advantage of the I think you have 50% off in the first month or something like that. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we are going to see each other then next week. And yeah, keep the messages going. Like just send me a message if you have a question, if you have some troubles with setting things up, and I'm more than happy to assist you. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend. Not weekend, week. Bye, everyone.